Hello everyone, it's Carrie and I'm back with the last couple of slides from the Rare Bible Petting Zoo from Friday's class. I'm so sorry that we weren't able to finish all of that together, and I apologize to those groups who were kind of left out of the class session, but hopefully this quick video will make up for that at least a little bit. So I'm going to pick back up with the Bible that's on your screen, and actually I'm going to flip up one slide so that you can see the outside from two different views of this Bible. This is a vellum covered Bible, so it's that lighter colored animal skin that's a little bit like leather but not processed the same way. And this Bible also has remnants of two straps that had clasps to hold the book together. You can see the leather parts of those straps are still there. And now I'll flip back down to the slide with the text on it. This is one volume of an 8-volume, it's actually 2 volumes of an 8-volume Bible and commentary package, I guess, called the Berlinberg Bible. It was printed in Berlinberg, Germany, and it is in German, so if you guessed that language, you are correct. And this is a little bit of a special case because it's actually 2 volumes of the 8-volume set bound together in a single book. So the first volume, volume 3, was printed in 1730, and volume 4 was printed in 1732. So this is volumes 3 and 4 of the Old Testament portion of the Berlinberg Bible. And let me bring up a title page so you can see what that looks like. The title page I'm showing on the left side of the screen is the 1732 4th volume title page, and this is in German, but I can tell you that Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, and some other books of the Old Testament are included here. And I also included a little printer's mark that appeared at the top of a page that's called a headpiece. And I may have mentioned this, I'm not sure, back and forth between the two classes, but printers would often design graphic elements like this either using a woodcut or an etching or engraving, or even little pieces of type to fill white space and make the printing a little more decorative. So this was just one example from this book that I thought was especially pretty. Just to give you a sense of what's going on inside and why it took 8 volumes to cover the entire Bible with this set. Right here you're seeing a page that shows the 23rd Psalm, and in the oval circle near the top of the picture I have just verses 1 and 2 circled there. And all of the text that's at the bottom of the page, kind of below that line, that's all commentary. So I suspect that this Bible was very popular among Bible scholars of its day. As far as I know, there was only ever one edition of this 8-volume Bible published, probably because it was quite large and probably quite expensive to own, and not overly popular. I need to do a little more studying on this myself to know a little bit more about it. But I can show you another volume. This was another Bible that we had in the petting zoo on Friday. Slightly different binding, brown leather with an interesting spine repair, with the big thick leather bands at the top and bottom. This was done at some other point in this Bible's life. There's some interesting end paper on the inside. You can see on the right side I'm holding the cover open, and you can see that kind of pink floral, almost wallpaper looking end paper there. And this Bible does have one of its clasps intact. You can see that at the very bottom of the right hand picture. This is volumes 3 and 4 of the New Testament. So not the same binding as the other, but we do have a complete set of all 8 volumes. I believe they're all bound in double, so we have 4 books to span the 8 volumes. Again, the Berlinberg Bible. These 2 volumes were printed in 1739, so a few years later. Here's the title page from the first volume in this book, the letter to the Hebrews, Peter, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, Jude, and Revelation, if I'm reading it right, and also the book of Sirach. And then other apocryphal books are in volume 4, so sort of at the very end. And you can see the title page for volume 4 over here at the top right of the screen. And then I included another one of those decorative printer's marks to show a little more detail on that. Okay, 3 more to go. This Bible has a brown leather binding and has some interesting brass decorations on it, and you would see something similar to this if you would flip it over and look at the back cover. This Bible was printed in 1744 in Strasbourg, which is a city on the border of France and Germany. It too is in German, and it's a style of German that would have been comfortable with Swiss residents, early Swiss Mennonites to be exact. And what's special about this, there are actually 2 special things about this Bible. The text of this Bible, if you were to compare it, it would be almost identical to the second edition of the very first Bible that we looked at in the petting zoo. And you'll remember that one was printed in 1531. That particular Bible was adjusted and reissued as a second edition in 1536. And the 1536 edition was very popular among Swiss Mennonites of that day, such that by the time the middle of the 18th century rolled around, there weren't very many copies left because they had all sort of worn out or become lost. People were traveling across to the New World and wanted to bring them along. And so a printer was found in Strasbourg who reissued, printed a reprint of that 1536 edition. The other special thing about this Bible is actually related to Bluffton, in that Bluffton owns 12 copies of this 1744 Zurich Bible reprint. So the original was printed in Zurich, this edition was printed in Strasbourg, and we own 12 of those, which is the largest single collection of this particular Bible known anywhere in the world, which is maybe an unusual distinction, but pretty cool that Bluffton can celebrate that. Here's the title page of that Bible, and you might remember it looks kind of similar to the 1531, the very first Bible in the petting zoo that we looked at. And this particular copy in the petting zoo has a hand-drawn book plate with very beautiful handwriting, noting that this is Peter Steiner's Bible from Wayne County in Ohio. The book plate is dated 1845, but the Bible itself, or maybe 1843, I'm not sure what that last digit is, but the Bible itself was printed in 1744. Here's our second to last Bible, and if you remember from the video that we watched at the beginning of class, you remember that the pages of the book are sewn onto thick bands or cords on the spine, and you can start to see along the joint here that leather is wearing, such that you can see those bands through the leather. So kind of interesting case study of book structure here. But this is a leather binding, and we're moving into the 1700s now. This one was printed in 1763, and it is the second edition of the first German Bible to be printed in the New World. It was printed in Germantown, Pennsylvania by a printer named Christopher Sauer, and it is in German. The library does own a copy of the first edition, which was printed in 1743, but it's in very poor condition, such that I can't bring it along for the petting zoo. It wouldn't hold up. It actually is missing its cover, and the pages are in pretty rough shape. But I can bring the second edition, and that's what I have, what I'm showing you right now. Here's a picture of the title page, and you can see down at the very bottom, Germantown, printed by Christopher Sauer in 1763. And over on the left-hand side, there are some margin notes. So I don't know if the group that had this Bible noticed that, but there's a little bit of handwriting, maybe some names and dates recorded in this Bible. The next one will look very similar, and there's a good reason for that. Again, a brown tanned leather cover here. This was printed in 1776, also in Germantown, Pennsylvania, by the same printer, and it's the third edition of the first German Bible to be printed in the New World. So we have a second edition Sauer Bible from 1763 and a third edition from 1776, which is the same year that our nation was born, so to speak. And this is the youngest Bible in the petting zoo. Here's a picture of the title page. Looks very similar to the one that we just saw. And I included some of the illustrations that show up in this Bible as examples of ways that printers will use printing type. Not all printing type consists of letters. Sometimes they're little decorative marks like flowers or shells or curlicues or fleur-de-lis or little crowns or other things. And printers will put those together in different shapes in order to fill empty space and to decorate the pages. So here are some examples of that kind of decoration that Christopher Sauer added to this particular Bible. And that's it. That does it for the petting zoo and for our speed dating round. Thanks so much for your attention and your curiosity on Friday afternoon. I really enjoyed the visit with your class, and I look forward to the next time when I can do this. If you have any questions about this experience, I would invite you to check in with Jackie, and she can connect you with me, or you can email phillipsc@bluffton.edu. My contact information is on the library's website too. Thanks so much, everyone. See you around.